Hey guys, so I just want to take a minute to talk about mental compulsions and some of the ones that I've experienced. Don't forget to like and subscribe down at the bottom. If you have any questions or comments, anything in the future that you'd like me to do, just let me know. So my experience, I guess, with compulsions is I've never really had a ton of physical ones besides like exercising and stuff like that. So mental compulsions have really been the biggest thing that is, dominant was dominant for me, and I didn't really know much about mental compulsions, and pretty. I honestly didn't realize how many there were, but it's pretty crazy. So I'll name a bunch of them, but just some of the ones that I've experienced. So obviously, rating how you feel towards another person, whether it be a partner, a family member, a friend. If you like rating if you love someone, rating if you're attracted to someone, rating if you're sexually attracted to someone, rating how you feel all the time, rating feelings in your body and sensations, reading your emotions, reading your energy levels, reading how your body feels like after you eat certain kinds of food. You rate if you are sexually attracted to someone and feel sexual stimulation in some way. Also, you've got rumination. You also have, I guess, like the internal thermometer. Those are, I would say, the biggest ones. And then you have counting. Obviously, counting's a big one. I used to do counting when I was younger, like as a kid. It never was really like a big dominant thing. Now, the interesting thing about mental compulsions, and a lot of people, I guess, kind of get a little freaked out about them, and they're not really known about in the community too much, unless like you're pretty educated. And I think that's something that's been a little different with us. I learned a lot about these from Nick. And I would say for me, once I really started to learn about these, it really helped me not engage as much, and really gave me some really good insight. So the amazing things about mental compulsions is that if they exist, it means that there is still a core fear that needs to be worked on. So I'll repeat that. If there is a mental compulsion that is occurring, that means there's a core fear that needs to be worked on, okay? Once the mental compulsion is gone, it means that the core fear is usually taken care of. If you are still feeling uncomfortable or anxious, it is usually due to sensitization, and that just means it takes a little bit of time, or maybe a lot of time, who knows, which is pretty amazing, right? Like, pretty positive thing. I used to think of mental compulsions as kind of like a scary thing, because I didn't really understand them, but now that I understand them, if they occur, I'm like, wow, okay, good. Like, this is amazing. Like, I know that this is something that I should take a look at after some time. I usually give myself time to be uncomfortable, because sometimes things just happen a little bit, right? Because you're sensitized, right? They can kick up a little fear, but usually you can get through it, right? Now, now for sensory motor OCD, you have the thermometer. The thermometer is the biggest one, rating how you feel constantly, rating if you're anxious, rating the sensations, rating everything, right? And what drives that is fear. Now, before we get too much into that, the biggest thing with mental compulsions that you got to understand is they will continue to occur until the fear has been worked on, till the fear is gone. Okay, so you can do things such as, like, once you get to the point where the physical compulsions are gone, and you are at a point where you've done your cognitive behavioral therapy, maybe you've done things, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, but yet you're still having the mental compulsions and you're still really uncomfortable, it means the fear really needs to be looked at, right? So this is an amazing insight, right? Like, literally arrow pointing where you need to go. okay? And you want to make sure that when you're looking at these things, it's not a compulsive thing, like, oh, I need to make it go away. If you haven't really looked at the fear, take some time. Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 days a week, 15, 20 minutes. Really take some time to look at it for, a month. Then after that, you probably need to work your way down 3, 4 times a week, twice a week, and you'll notice when you really look at that, it starts to it will start to diminish. It will start to go down. So now, like I said, with sensory motor OCD, the biggest one for me was the thermometer. So when it's happening, you have to understand that you need to just let it run. It will not go away, like I said, until the fear has been looked at. So you need to just let it occur. Try and do your best to not engage with it, follow with it, do your thing with it. Try to not try to answer the questions. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to go along with what is happening, okay? What you need to do is you need to just be uncomfortable and really look at that. Look at that fear, okay? So fear for me was, like I said, that one of the dominating things. So I had to look at, what if I felt this way 24/7, 365, what would my life be like? And once I broke that down, a good part of that diminished. And, sometimes it'll come back up a little bit, maybe sometimes even for a short period. And if the mental compulsions are occurring, I know that it's something I need to look at, but I still give myself time. Now, for example, someone that would have relationship OCD, which I've dealt with relationship OCD, rating how you feel towards someone sexually. If you're going to maybe feel aroused or feel like you're attracted to them, or maybe too attracted to them. What if, maybe you're not going to, be able to do what you should in bed, right? Something that would make you uncomfortable. Those are things I've personally dealt with, rating, if you like someone's actions, are you thinking if that you're compatible with them, or if you're really attracted to them, okay? So the core fear is that, if you don't like them, there's something wrong with the relationship. Maybe you're going to be by yourself, okay? For me, the core fear for me was not being approved of by others. So I had to look at that and say, okay, so my mental compulsions, when they're occurring, I was able to be like, okay, so I, would obviously prefer to have my partner always like me and maybe always be able to perform the best, physically or emotionally for someone else. I would also like to have them, love me and care for me and treat me well. But if they don't, and I break up with them, and I'm by myself, I'm living the life I was right before I was in the situation, whereas it was pretty great. Like, I love my life with or without someone, So it's good to really to look at those things and identify them. With POCD, for example, maybe you would feel a certain way and try to see what your arousal was, or maybe rate your emotions if you really thought that you would actually maybe do some of those things, and you have to be able to look at that fear, break it down. So mental compulsions are one of those things where not a lot of people are very educated on them and don't really understand them, okay? But I'm going to restate this just to be clear. If a mental compulsion is occurring, it means that you still have to look at the core fear. You got to break it down non-compulsively, okay? And this is huge. This is an amazing insight, okay? I gave you a bunch of basic mental compulsions that occur. And for some people, they may occur a little bit differently than for everybody, right? But it's all the same perspective, okay? Once the fear is looked at, the mental compulsions will go down, and just do your best to not be with them. As in, like, when the mental compulsions are occurring, do not interact. Just allow them to run rampant, okay? So, but yeah, that's my experience with mental compulsions. Hope this is helpful. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.